Peace and welcome to Oddly Familiar Behind the Bleeps and Bloops. In today's episode, we will be talking about the sounds of Doom 1 and Doom 2. Composed by Robert Prince, better known by his nickname Bobby, Bobby Prince was a member of the R&B and soul band The Jesters. He remained in the band for 3 years from 1964 to 1966 before leaving and serving in Vietnam in 1969 and 1970. Prince then became a lawyer after passing the bar in 1980, and after all of that, his love of harmony took him in the direction of music. In 1991, Bobby joined an online bulletin board for sound and music, including MIDI and game music. Around summertime, Scott Miller posted and asked if any composers would be interested in working on music for a game. The game turned out to be Commander Keen in Goodbye Galaxy, which happens to be developed by id Software and published by Scott Miller's company, Apogee Software. About 50 people responded, including Bobby, and he got the first call. After the brief conversation with Scott, Prince received a call from John Romero, who is co-founder of id Software and designer of Doom. They talked for a long time, and that's where it all started. Fast forward to 1992, John Romero started working on his new project, a first-person shooter named Doom. At this time, John cut ties with Apogee and decided to publish the game through his own company, id Software. Well, during this time, Bobby Prince was still producing their music and agreed to work with John on Doom. John sent photos to Bobby for him to see some of the game. Bobby Prince didn't see the game until after composing most of the music. Bobby is also responsible for the sound effects in the game. He stated he made a few thousand sound effects for the game, even though only about 100 were used.
What's going on?
Now, anyone who has ever heard the Doom 1 or 2 soundtracks may think some of the songs sound oddly familiar. Here are a few examples. First, we have a song named Hooked from 1987 by the band D.R.I. Now let's compare that to At Doom's Gate from E1 M1 on Doom 1. In another example, previously covered in an oddly familiar episode, here is Them Bones by Alice in Chains. From the Doom 2 soundtrack, here is Bye Bye American Pie. Now, if you think those just happen to be a coincidence, I will play one more example. Here is Alice in Chains' Angry Chair. Compare that one to Adrian's Asleep. What are the chances that 2 songs from the same game happen to sound almost exactly like 2 songs from the same band? That was no accident. Now, this is where many stories and rumors about the Doom soundtrack start to pop up. Now, the first rumor is that since Bobby Prince is a lawyer, he knew what he could get away with. So he pushed it to the limit and made it as close as possible. Was Bobby such a good lawyer that he knew exactly how much of a song to take? Before we answer that, let's also mention the second rumor. id Software had permission from all of the bands, and all of the songs for Doom were legally cleared. So the question is, did they have permission from the bands? The answer to both questions is no. Bobby Prince is a lawyer, that part is a fact, but he actually expected id Software to get sued. In this excerpt from an interview with Bobby Prince himself, you can hear him state exactly that. So don't take my word for it, take his.
You know, when some of them showed up, I thought, well, y'all are going to get sued, but I had nothing to do with placing them in the game.
The fact that Bobby expected id Software to get sued pretty much answers both questions. If he expected them to get sued over the music, this means he knew the line and went overboard. And this also proves they didn't have permission. I would also like to mention the fact that Bobby Prince was asked to do the songs verbatim. This means Bobby couldn't put his own twist on the songs and that he should just copy them. There is no question that the Doom songs were more than just inspired, they were covers. Bobby has also stated that he had no decision on what was used and where it was used. He didn't think the covers would be used in the game, and he even titled the songs with the UN, standing for Use Not.
File names back then were a maximum of 8 alphanumerics. You had to get real creative to be able to tell somebody in that few number of alphanumerics what they were listening to. But anyway, those that were coverish, I started naming them UN for Use Not.
I do suggest you listen to that full interview. It's almost 50 minutes long, so make sure you free up enough time. I think it's worth it, but if you don't have that much time, you can watch the shortened version, which clocks in at less than 30 minutes. I'll include links to both videos in the description. To sum it up, the songs were covers on purpose because that's what Bobby was asked to do. I do like the music that ended up in Doom. It fits the feeling of the game. But I would also like to hear more of Bobby's original pieces that were not used. When it comes to John Romero and the other devs, maybe they didn't realize what the UN stood for, or perhaps they did. Either way, I'm not judging anyone. I do respect their work, and I do like Doom. So there you have it. Yes, Bobby is a lawyer, but no, he didn't push it to the exact limit. And no, they didn't have permission. They gambled and took a huge risk. If they were sued, that could have bankrupted the company, and we wouldn't have any new games from them. Using cover songs from popular bands is something to be careful of. Other companies have been sued for doing it only once, while Doom 1 alone did it over 10 times. I would have to agree with Bobby on this one. I am surprised they didn't get sued. But at the end of it all, Doom and the Doom soundtrack both get the ICC stamp of approval. Anyways, I'm ICC. Thanks for watching. Peace.